about to be witness to a very rare thing, a screening of Bob Rafelson's movie for and with and by the Monkees, Head. But it's a film which I think benefits from some explanation or some contextualisation, very definitely. The Monkees, unique in the history of pop music really, the first ever made-for-TV band. And this is the famous post in the Los Angeles, the Hollywood Reporter, which was kind of a trade paper, advertising for people to go down for auditions, as you can see, for acting roles in new TV series. Now, we're used to this stuff now, aren't we? Every Saturday night, the schedules are jammed with this kind of business. Auditions for this, people trying out for that. But in 1965, September 1965, when this was published, it was just another cattle call, effectively, you know, going for a part. Now, these two heavy-looking dudes are the men effectively responsible for creating the Monkees. On the left is Bob Rafelson, and he'd arrived on the scene via his friend who's on the right, a guy called Bert Schneider. But they kind of masterminded the whole idea of a TV series about an aspiring young group who wanted to be like the Beatles. The common myth is that the Monkees were simply a rip-off of the Beatles. If they were a rip-off of anything to do with the Beatles, it was the atmosphere of Dick Lester's film A Hard Day's Night, the sort of the energy and the speeding up film, you know, the barging about, all that kind of stuff. So there we are. This was the first time that the Monkees kind of appeared together as a group, on not, as you'll notice, on the cover of, you know, a music magazine, but on the cover of a television magazine, you know, like the Radio Times. The TV Guide is kind of the American equivalent of the Radio Times. And there's the cover of their debut album. The show debuted in September 1966, and this album came out in mid-October 1966, and had sold 1 million records by Christmas. So that's pretty good going by anybody's standards. The Monkees were effectively the cast of a TV show rather than a real group at that point. So they needed good commercial songs brought in quickly, and Boyce and Hart delivered them. If you know the Monkees theme, if you know Last Train to Clarksville, if you know any of the stuff from the first album, apart from the two Mike Nesmith songs, which you always managed to get on, Boyce and Hart wrote them. So you can see the kind of the marketing, the clutter, the stuff to be sold to the target audience. And always a surefire sign of success and planning, a logo, fantastic classic logo, guitar-shaped logo with love hearts for the machine heads there. Brilliant bit of design there. Oh, now, things started to get controversial in early 1967 when, because of the scale of the success, all of a sudden these four guys are thinking, well, actually, you know, we are the Monkees. We're extraordinarily popular. They'd started to play live concerts. How is it that we're not allowed to play our own songs, we're not allowed to play instruments, we're not allowed to choose our own material? So in the first act in a pattern of kind of self-sabotage, which culminates with this film, Head, they kind of admitted that they were the musicians on the records, and became known as the Great Revolt of '67, wherein the Monkees, finally a group, battled and won the right to play their own music. Okay, so this is from a contemporary magazine. So what happened was, there was effectively a little revolution. The workers took over the means of production, and instead of playing the Monkees, they actually became the Monkees. Now, Mickey Dolenz has a very nice and I think sort of apposite comparison with this. He says it was like Pinocchio becoming a real boy. And they all decided that they would grow beards. This was the symbol of their independence. And they wanted to have pictures of them with beards on the sleeve of the next album, which is going to come up. The one I was looking for, actually, all those years ago, Headquarters. But RCA said, you've got no chance. if you want it released, have a shave. So what happens? Well, Hollywood comes calling. Well, actually, that's not right, is it? The whole point about the monkeys, actually, is that they were already there. They were born in Hollywood. And the thing with the monkeys was that they kind of started at the centre and then decided that they wanted to move to the margins. So this is the front page of a copy of the first draft of the script of Hyde, which I acquired perfectly legally. eBay is a wonderful thing. And as you can see, it was called Changes. But here, if you can see scribbly under Raper Productions Limited, it says Hyde, formerly Changes. And here we are, this is from the film. Now you see, in the Beatles films, this didn't happen to Paul McCartney, did it? He didn't get an ex-world heavyweight champion beating on him. Amazing performance by Davy Jones in this particular scene. And it makes you remember that, you know, him and Mickey Dolenz at least were professional actors. You know, there's some real great physical acting that goes on. And here's Peter in the boxing scene telling Mickey that he shouldn't worry because he's the dummy. Part of the film, the purpose of the film, is to sort of send up the characters that they'd acquired for themselves in the TV series. Yeah, okay, so they get part of the humour, or part of the point at least of the film, is to satirise their own manufactured beginnings. And they get taken around a factory where they see culture being produced. This is Hollywood Boulevard, the only time that there was a billboard for it on Hollywood Boulevard. America's making great and meaningful movies. Hyde is one of them. That's a ringing endorsement. And that actually is just about the best quote that they probably could find, because it stiffed monumentally at the box office. So, thank you for your patience. We are now going to go to the Douglas Graham Bridge, Long Beach, California, for the opening ceremony of Hyde.
Hyde is the most extraordinary adventure, western, comedy, love story, mystery, drama, musical, documentary, satire ever filmed.